coming back right at you. I'm going to be showing off some cool stuff. First, I'm going to kind of give a quick rundown on the Cannith crafting and what it means for you. I did a video previously kind of detailing why Cannith crafting was really good with the old system. Well, maybe not really good, but useful for leveling, things like that. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of detailing the new system, how it's improved, and what it means for you if you haven't actually taken the time to look into it. Because it's fantastic, and I really think that you should. But we're just going live right now on the official DDO stream. Hashtag DDO. If you couldn't tell, I'm definitely doing other things at the same time. Okay, so yeah, let's talk video game. Okay, so Cannith crafting. What's cool and what's new about it? So if you used Cannith crafting before, it was this awful archaic system. You had 3 separate schools. That basically you leveled up each one and they all contributed different attributes. You know, if you wanted to add fire damage, you needed to have elemental school. If you wanted to, you know, give yourself bonus constitution, you needed to have the divine school, things like that. Now that's not the case. Instead, it's been simplified down into one school, which we'll load here in a minute. And under your crafting tab, all of your experiences in these 3 bars have been tabulated into one. They need to reform this so it actually just looks like one thing. So it's like maybe a smaller window or something, or it's got stats. I don't know. But in the meantime, it just clumped all your experience into one and then gave you a final level. As well, all of the different essences that you used to pick up, so like the 35 million different essences that you have, is now just one single essence, the Cannith essence. Do I have any in my backpack? Probably not. I shouldn't. I don't. But yeah, Cannith essences. It's just one essence type to do all your crafting. But what does that mean for you, you know? Crafting is still exceptionally tedious, right? It took a million years to actually go through the crafting module because there were so many recipes that would have to load up. There were duplicate recipes. The bound and unbound system was super tedious. And then figuring out what level you would make an item was just like a headache in itself. You know, if I wanted to craft an item, do I have an example of an item that I might have crafted? No, I don't. Oh, maybe? No, I don't. If you wanted to craft an item, you would have to kind of choose the item that you made and the level that you made based on the stats that you wanted. So instead of getting an item that you wanted, and this is a big distinction, instead of getting an item that you wanted, so say like, oh, I want like a strength item that also has constitution on it, you have to say, okay, I want a strength item, so I'm going to put strength 6 on it, which is going to make that item level 11, and then I have to choose another stat, which is then going to continue to increase the level. Now, of course, the current random loot generation system doesn't work like that, so they kind of simplified the whole crafting system. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through an item. I have a ring right here, and we're going to craft a ring together to kind of show what you can do and what you can get with the new system. So for starters, crafting is lightning fast. Before, crafting used to take like a million years. So let's say, for example, I wanted to take, I don't know, this, oh, that's a good belt. Oh, that's also a good belt. This hat sucks. Okay, say I have a hat here, and I want to craft onto this. Before, what you'd have to do is if you wanted to disenchant something, you'd click deconstruct, your computer would freeze for about 4 seconds, and then you couldn't actually craft something. Or it would come back afterwards. Now, I click deconstruct, boom, lightning fast, it's gone. I got my little bit of experience. I got 25 Cannith essences that went right into my ingredients bag, and it's done. It makes it really fast and really easy to get through your list. The way that I've been doing it is I just take items, add them to the list, and keep adding them in order. There are a couple effects that don't deconstruct currently. Effects like Vorpal don't deconstruct. Old effects like Bloodletter don't deconstruct, so you have to be careful with that. It's still a work in progress, but like this Vorpal Kopatch unfortunately will not be able to deconstruct into something. However, it's lightning fast to deconstruct stuff now, so you can quickly get essences and also get the little bits of experience that you get every time you deconstruct. But how about making an item? They kind of streamlined and made the process a little bit simpler. So to start, you create your bound shards, right? Well, the first shard that you're going to be needing when you make an item, you can actually use the items to test out your shards. So I take an item to item deconstruction, say it's a cloak, and I disjunct it, right? I make this item available for crafting onto. So I hit deconstruct, and it disjuncts the item. It takes the magical effects off, and then leaves me with just the cloak for crafting. The coolest part about this whole system is if you have an augment slot in this item, that augment slot does not affect the minimum level once you start crafting on it. It does here, it's a level 5 cloak because it has a green augment slot on it, but if this had a green augment slot and a colorless augment slot, and then you craft it to level 20 or level 30, that's not going to affect the level of the item. So if you ever find items that have 2 slots on them, keep them, dump them on the shard auction house, just deconstruct them and put them on the shard auction house. I'm telling you, you're going to make shards. Okay, so, and don't worry, Papa Strimtom, I'm gonna here to show you how to make shards. All right, so we're gonna go through this. So, yes, I have this cloak now. You know, I've got that, or the item I wanted to craft on, I have this ring. But first, I want to know, well, what can I put on a ring? What you can do is you can go through the bound shards list, and I can look through all the stuff that's available to craft. So I can be like, oh, lightning resist, poison resist, but you have to know which each item does, and if you put your mouse over it, it even tells you it's a prefix for your head, eyes, trinket, and rune arm. That's a lot of stuff, you know? That's crazy. I don't want to remember which things have prefixes and suffixes. Bluff shard, well, this can go on hands, trinkets, and rune arms as prefixes, and necks, rings, and trinkets as suffixes. Like, remembering the combination of every item in the game is super tedious and difficult to do. Fortunately, the game actually makes it a little bit easy for you, because if you bring an item that you'd like to craft over the bound item section, I can very easily take my item, dump it in here, and it'll tell me what I can craft specifically on that item, and then I can go make those shards. The first thing you're going to notice is the minimum level shard. The shard of the level of your item is no longer determined by the stats you put on it. You put the stats you want and the level you want, and you get the item you want. You're level 10, you want a strength ring that also gives you constitution, make it. Or, you know, you want a scepter that gives you fire lore and fire spell power for level 20, make it. That's it. You just pick the stats you want. So we're going to start off, we're going to make ourselves an item. Today we're going to be making what character level is this? Level 15. So we're going to make a level 15 item for my character here. I have oh, that's a really good item. Here we go. I have a Ring of Sheltering 13 and Spell Resistance 20. I think I can do a little bit better than that, so we're going to try. So first, I'm going to quickly go down to the level 15 minimum level. So that's right here. Not too bad. It just takes 150 essences. I click craft. Again, it's lightning fast. It just goes right into my bag like nothing else. The huge ingredients bag isn't quite as necessary anymore because there's not like millions of ingredients to hold. Now, it's really, really streamlined. The shards that you make are all one type of shard. It's not like shard 34, shard, 60, shard 72. It's now just impulse shard, and it applies it. So I go over to my bound items. I go ahead and I take my ring. I put my ring in right here. I put it to level 15. Boom, and I craft it. And now my list updates all of a sudden, and it tells me what I can add. So say I want to know, well, what kind of prefix can I have? I type in prefix, and it's going to give me all my prefixes. Charisma, Constitution, Acid Absorption, that, and the like. Wizardry. Wizardry is a pretty good stat. It doesn't tell me exactly how much I'm going to get at the level, but it does tell you right away, what stats I can have. So for a character like this is kind of more of a melee character, so I want to have melee-based stats. There's also two types of shards. There are shards with a white background. The white background means that it scales based on your level. The clear or the blue background means it doesn't scale on your level. So if I have a blindness effect, this makes my item give me blindness immunity, whereas if you have a striding effect, this means it's based on the level. So striding, gives me more the higher level it is. So looking at my character right now, I have a Constitution 6 item. I think I can probably get better than Constitution 6, but we're actually going to make this into a Constitution item. So to start out, we know I need a Constitution gem. So I'm going to know this right here. Boom, I need to make a Constitution, what is this, a rune shard? Something. Anyway, I need to make a Constitution thing so I can attach it to my ring. But then what I'm going to have is the suffix. Well, the item I have right now just so happens to have sheltering. What you can put on items is under the same kind of grouping as what falls under random loot. This item gives me sheltering, which means I can find sheltering in here. So I'm going to scroll down my list until I can find it, and boom, sheltering right there. No problem. So let's go make a Constitution sheltering ring. How do we do that? Well, you head back over to your bound shards, and we're going to make this super complicated. Shelter. Boom. Sheltering shard. Now, oh no, I can't make it. I don't have the collectibles. Shards and stats and effects are now based on collectibles, and this is one of the most probably devastating parts about the crafting system. If you want to make cool items like sheltering, you gotta go get this crypt moss. So, how do you figure out where I'm going to get crypt moss? I have these bone things, skull fragments. Look at all these skull fragments. I got 59, but I don't have any moss shards. I don't have any moss shards, crypt moss. How do I get crypt moss? What you can do, and I'm going to put a link here in the chat here, so you guys can take a look at this and bookmark this for later. But fortunately, on the DDO wiki, there's some very dedicated people decided to make a page or add a section of the page all about collectibles. So I'm going to link this here so you can all see that. By using the link that I'm about to provide for you, you can then find out exactly where the collectible you need to get is. So I need Crypt Moss. So there's a chart. I'm going to look through my chart. Crypt Moss is somewhere in here. I don't know if it's in alphabetical order. Crypt Moss, Worm, Crypt Moss. It's an uncommon item, and it's in collectible tier 2. Being in tier 2 means that any quests that are from level 6 to 10, that I go ahead and loot one of these collectible things, I have a chance of picking up Crypt Moss. I have a better chance of actually picking it up from Crypt Moss itself, from actual, like, you know, the little mossy things or like mushrooms and things, or you can get them from adventurer packs. Adventurer packs are really cool, like little adventure packs or rubble, things like that. They can give you any collectible, whereas the older collectibles, so you know, your mushrooms, or like very specific ones, your altars, they used to give you things like divine collectibles, that sort of thing, but be very specific. So if you wanted, you know, sonnets or something, romantic sonnets, you'd have to go to specific bookcases. They kind of changed it, so now even if you go to like a mushroom that used to give you sweet whitecap, say in the harbor, now that sweet whitecap, that mushroom, can pull from the entire list that drops in any kind of natural collectible group. So you can find Crypt Moss on your sweet whitecap mushroom. Maybe it doesn't make quite as much sense, but super convenient and super useful. So I can't make a sheltering shard, but I should be able to make a constitution shard. That's con? Oh, that doesn't have that. Constitution shard item. Boom, I can make this. So it takes runic parchments, it takes some glass vials, so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly craft myself a constitution item as my secondary stat. I don't know, let's go with something maybe like dexterity. Dexterity's pretty good, I can put that on there, so we'll just make dexterity as well. It takes 5 polished ores and 15 sour dark cap. So I go ahead and I craft this on here. Now how do I apply it to my item? I go back over, head over to the crafting thing, found items, click my ring, scroll to constitution, click, craft. Boom. Dexterity, click, craft. Bam. How hard was that? Now I have a Dexterity 8, Constitution 8 ring that I can just throw on whenever I want. And that's a lot of stats that I could just make myself. But wait, there's more. The last tidbit here is that you can actually add an extra effect to any item you feel like it, and you can do that by using a Mark of Cannith, or Mark of Cannith. To get a Mark of House Cannith, you buy them from the Cannith vendor by doing the rep stuff. This used to lower the level of an item by 1. Now it allows you to add an extra stat. So if I craft onto this and allow me to add an extra stat, it gives me a whole list of extra stats. Insightful Dex, Insightful Charisma. Whoa, you can just add Insightful Charisma? Damn straight you can. So why not? So what are the implications of this? It means that for lower levels, it is a bit tedious to pick up all the collectibles to make a leveling set. But it means if you start a character, say, as level 15 iconic, you can get an item that fits your build perfectly without having to kind of shovel through the auction house and maybe kind of save up for a couple lives. You could just say, well, I'm making this weird-ass character, maybe it's a Purple Dragon Knight, and maybe he's going to be a spellcaster. I want a certain stat. So you can then have an item that kind of lumps those stats together, which is pretty cool. On top of that, this also gives you the option to make consistent item slots, the most amazing of which is for level 20. If you've done a lot of epic leveling and you've done epic lives, one of the most frustrating things about doing an epic life is that it bumps you back to level 20 and you can't wear any of your gear anymore. All your incredible level 30 gear, you just can't wear it. So you gotta have this hodgepodge set. Maybe you're missing items, so you're like, oh, well, these gloves are too high level, I can't wear these, and this belt is too high level, I can't wear this. So now your character doesn't have, you know, the items that you normally would, and you kind of have to piece stuff together as you go along. Now, for consistency, you can make a full level 20 set. And with a full level 20 set of gear, the moment you reincarnate, you just go to the bank, swap on your level 20 set, and then boom, you're back to leveling without having the slowdown of having to figure out exactly what you need. And then finally, for level 30, for max level, if you actually take the time to grind this stuff out, you can make items with stats of up to level 34, I think it is. Yeah, 34. And that's a lot. Level 34 items are really powerful, giving you access to some cool effects, like being able to add +7 insightful bonus to an item. So I can take, say, make a level 30 cloak that has Charisma 14, Insightful Charisma 7. That's a lot of charisma. And I can just put that on any item slot that actually fits on. Like Insightful Charisma, I can put Insightful Charisma on it takes a shard. It doesn't tell me which stats the shard goes on to. No. Ugh. It really should. I don't know why it doesn't. Oh, there it is. Cloak, necklace, rings, trinket. You can add insightful charisma. So that's kind of cool. So being able to really deck out your character at max level, it takes a lot of investment, but it is pretty cool. On top of that, this system has kind of revitalized the auction house. If you want to make a bunch of money and shards, dump those collectibles that you've got stored up on that auction house. You never want to do any crafting? Don't worry about it. Put those essences on that auction house. You can be making lots of gold and lots of shards. I've made lots of shards myself, so I highly recommend you do it as well. On that note of making shards, if you've done Slave Lords, you will see all over the forums people saying, it takes so long to grind to get those items. Oh, I need to get 400 of, the collars and 400 of the slave, the slave chains and things. God, it takes so much time. Well, you can be a fancy dancy capitalist and make a lot of profit here. Head yourself into some Slave Lords, get some of those items, and boom, dump them on the shard auction house. People will pay shards for them, and then you can spend that shards on whatever you want. I don't know what you spend shards on, but I don't think there's a limit, so just keep getting shards, right? So that's my advice to you. When you see a situation like that, make sure to turn it into an opportunity to make yourself some money. So that's essentially the new crafting system. It's pretty cool. It's lightning fast. It's a lot more user-friendly and intuitive, and I really like it. So I highly recommend that you kind of check it out, take a look at it, and, give yourself a chance to get acquainted, because it is extremely very cool. If you're wanting to level quickly, I can't recommend doing it any other way than by purchasing yourself some potions. So just chugging down a couple of these XP potions you can get, the major potions. Sure, it is a few turbine points, but they're pretty cheap. It's like 200 for 5 of them, and getting double experience from everything you craft saves you tons of essences. So that's just the way that I like to do it. It just makes it a bit easier on yourself. It's kind of just saving time. Yeah, exactly. You can spend your shards on cool augments like meteoric star rubies. So there you go. Don't have any of those awesome augments? Go that, or what's it? The meridian fragment. It's even better. So, and that's it. So that's kind of like my kind of rundown on the new system. I hope you give it a shot if you haven't. It is a really good system. Turbine did a really good job kind of redesigning it. So give it a shot, take a look, and see what's going on. Now today.